Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
Mario Götze! Mario Götze!
Tonight, whether you call it football, or soccer, a German American and a German in America dare to call it Fußball. German football from an American point of view. Let's add some buns to that hamburger and join them for the Schnitzel Boys Deutschland Hour.
Yeah!
Yeah! All right.
Yahoo!
Perhaps this worked.
Maybe.
Maybe it worked. All right. Well, hello. Good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? It is Schnitzel night. It's Monday night. We have the Champions League. We had Bundesliga weekend, and then we had the end of the transfer deadline window.
Oh, yes.
A lot of last-minute deals put under the rug or whatever last minute. The big one in Germany is the Matthias Tell to Tottenham transfer that went through.
Yeah.
$62 million. The German clubs are just laughing their way to the bank. They're just like, hey, England, pay us. I swear to God, the English Premier League is just subsidizing everyone.
Wait, I thought that was a loan.
Loan to buy for $62 million.
Oof. Wow. Okay. Well, Tottenham need help.
That's a good deal. Is Matthias Tell worth $60 million?
I mean, he's a young man, you know. This is you pay for potential. This is always he's very young, and I mean there were other suitors.
Germany you do that.
What's
England
that?
pays for potential. England pays for potential. Germans don't. But I knew that happened. Did Bochum get any $60 million last minute?
Zero signings. Zero signings for Bochum. Could not convince anyone to come. There were some rumors. Nothing materialized as far as I'm aware. Sometimes you just hear a day later because the paperwork goes through and they don't. So I don't. But as far as I'm aware, zero signings. And really, what does it matter at this point? Who wants to go?
Hear that? My computer is going haywire right now.
Your computer?
Sorry.
You sound good. You sound good over here.
Good. So if you don't hear it, then ignore me. Keep going. Sorry.
It's unclear. Hello? Are you there?
I'm here. My computer's going haywire. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Just now, my computer's went bing, 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 bing. My scheduled restart is going haywire. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh.
So I have to fix it up, settle it up. Might be time to give my old machine a little TLC or something.
Your computer is letting you down. All right. Well,
let me down. But what are you talking about? Bochum, no new signings. They don't need
no new signings. I mean, it's over, right? Like there's no chance. There's no chance. David Riccios tells us we both sound good. So that's good. Yes, thank you for that.
Excellent.
I mean, it's such an odd situation with the Bochum, right? Last place still, only 4 points to the relegation playoff spot. But still, I don't have any hope. There was a little bit of hope for a second, but this was another one of those games where if we're not gonna be competitive at home against Freiburg, Freiburg, they're a good, decent team, but mid-table, how are we gonna get, where are the points gonna come from if this is not? And there's just no offense. So
they're not expected to get points off Freiburg. They're expected to get points at home to St. Pauli, at home to Holstein Kiel, at home to Heidenheim, and at home
we got 7.
Or something.
We got 7 out of our 10 points from those 3 home games. So
there you go.
So I guess that's already over then.
We got another 7 coming up.
We've got another. That's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough.
Then now you have to get your points on the road against Heidenheim and Holstein Kiel and all that.
Yeah, that has not worked.
I got to get points from somewhere. And if you don't get points, you go down to the Super League, the Bundesliga 5.
Yeah, we're heading to the Super League. The Super League is crazy. Köln is first again. Hamburg only got a tie at home against Hannover, and so now your man Strube is a top of the Super League.
Flying high. Kaiserslautern got 3 points. They're tied in second place with 35 points.
I mean, it's
Hannover got a
still
point, but Schalke lost 5-2 against Magdeburg, I believe. And Magdeburg is now in third place. Hertha Berlin lost 2-0 at home. So Schalke and Hertha continue to be disappointments. But Nuremberg did get 3 points. But yeah, Köln is flying high. Hamburger, second place. Hamburg. Köln and Hamburg are the two teams we got our eyes on. They're, it's still tight, but they both got wins over the weekend.
Still very tight. I mean, there's, some teams are dropping off. Elversberg is now no longer perhaps a contender. Karlsruhe, Paderborn, they little bit of point difference. No longer 3 points from first to ninth or whatever it was, but still very, very tight. Kaiserslautern is in fourth, 2 points behind first. So Magdeburg now in the mix. They're in third place. We haven't talked about them at all. Another East German team. So yeah, zweite Liga is where it's at. So that's what Bochum have to look forward to.
A couple of big clubs are coming back. The big stadiums are coming back, and a couple of the smaller stadiums are going back in the Bundesliga 2 where they belong. But yeah, it's looking like a Bochum and Holstein Kiel are probably going to make their way down, unless one John Tolkien can earn his $3 million most expensive man on the pitch transfer.
He got to start. He got to start at Bayern München, his first Bundesliga start with the hardest possible assignment. How did it go, Stefan Spitzer? Tell us.
But that's the idea. You especially whenever you criticize MLS players, it's like, what are they going to do over at Thing or whatever? Why? Just say MLS or whatever. The MLS doesn't have a game at Bayern München.
This is an offensive paraphrasing of how I put this, by the way. But go on.
Well, you criticize players when they go to Scotland or whatever.
I don't criticize. I don't criticize. I wouldn't even use the word criticize. If you are, there is still a big gap between these leagues, and players are not like chess pieces either. You don't just take John Tolkien like a rook on their chessboard and put him somewhere else and he has the same abilities. No, there's a little bit of an adjustment period. You're always like 20% less good when you change continents, at least for a little bit, until you. So it's a difficult thing. And if you're doing well where you are, I mean, obviously the money is always a factor. So these guys should do what they want. But I'm not criticizing anyone for wanting to go to Europe. I'm also like, consider being thankful with what you have is also sometimes a good way. But anyway, sorry, continue.
Well, yes, as I was saying, Holstein Kiel at Bayern München is a trial by fire. There's nothing about that game is an MLS. There's no MLS equivalent to that.
Nothing prepares you. Nothing you have seen in Major League Soccer prepares you for Bayern's attack.
And little John Tolkien with his bright blonde hair, number 47, right off the bus from Jersey, walked into the starting lineup against Harry Kane, Michael Olise, Serge Gnabry, the gang, And that's what I was excited about. That's what you do. That's big. That's Europe. He went to Holstein Kiel, which is a club on the verge of going right back down again. And the questions are like, is he only going to be in the Bundesliga for 6 months? Like 6 months, going back down? Who knows? However, this is it. This is the challenge. Get in there, be the best player you can be. And John Tolkien did it. And I for one, love seeing it. I love seeing an MLS guy, especially one of my own, walk into the big fields of the Bundesliga, the big time, and play against mighty Bayern, the Bayern. But anywho, John Tolkien started on the left. He was like, what was the formation? He was like the left four of like a back. There was like a back three and then a holding midfield four. He was on the left side of their summer. It was heavy defensive. Holstein Kiel is a lot. Essentially, they have 7 defenders on the field.
I mean, they're playing at Bayern.
Right, they're playing at Bayern. And John Tolkien was maybe not the extreme right. He was the second to, not extreme left. He was like second to left. holding mid, but he was essentially defensive position left side. That's what Tolkien does. So they put him in the right spot.
But they have 3 center backs, right? So he's supposed
Yeah.
to help with
He
offense.
was,
But there's
he was a
not
left.
a lot of offense you're expecting on the road at Bayern.
Well, yeah, but oddly enough, Holstein Kiel had 2 really good counterattacking chances where they really should have done better.
I mean, they scored
they should have
3
bought
they scored 3 goals, spoiler alert.
yeah, two in stoppage time. But yeah, they had in the first half they had a couple of open like counterattacks where they should have done better. And it's like, there you go, that's your chances. Strategically, they were pretty sound. A lot of defenders hold tight, park the bus, hit them on the counter, right? It's not rocket science. John Tolkien, focusing on John Tolkien, I did look at him very closely. He was on Michael Olise duty.
Mm.
Olise, the young Bayern München whippersnapper.
Yeah, he's not bad.
France,
He's
I
not
believe,
bad.
right?
He's not bad.
He ain't too shabby. And I'm going to be harsh. I'm going to be Big Daddy Stefan here. I'm going to treat John Tolkien like my son. The first goal I'm going to put on him. So, and I argued with someone on Reddit, and this is a typical example of what I criticize a lot from the U.S. fan base. Is the U.S. fan base is quick to protect, quick to blame other parts of the field, quick to blame the coach. They're always ready to blame everybody but their player. Always. That's just the U.S. soccer way. I'm the opposite. Maybe that's the German in me. I'm like, no, you need to do better. I'm now extra harsh on my boys because they need to do better. So John Tolkien was covering Olise, but gave him a good yard and a half. Because in MLS, you'll have to give people a yard and a half.
He looked a little, I saw the replay, he looked a little casual jogging over there.
Yeah.
But I mean, to say that it was his fault, that's still...
It's harsh, right?
It's harsh.
But essentially, the through ball went to Michael Olise, who was in the right part of the box there. And John Tolkien was covering him, as was likely his assignment. But again, he was like a yard off. And MLS, like he said, was a little casual. He's like, whatever. But this is the Bundesliga. This is Michael Olise. So that was enough space for him to place a perfect pass in the box and assist a goal from who was the first goal scorer? I should bring it up.
It was...
it wasn't Harry Kane. Harry Kane scored either in the half. And then,
it was
Musiala.
Jamal Musiala.
Maybe. Was it? Yeah.
Yes.
It was Musiala, right? And to find Musiala running in the box, and boom, goal. And then the camera, the Bundesliga cameras, the global broadcast, focusing on John Tolkien. Pretty much, they were pretty much like, all right, John, this is on you.
Womp, womp, womp. Yeah.
Womp, womp. And then, and that's a perfect, it's like, welcome to the Bundesliga. Welcome to Bayern. MLS teams don't have that kind of precision. Like all they need is a little, like Bayern München just needs a little bit of space. Take the ball, pass it, finish it. You just have to give them a little space once. They're like a 5 for 5 in that. And then MLS teams don't have that kind of precision. So this is why he's in the Bundesliga. This is why it's trial by fire. So we did that. I'm like, all right. And I went on my Reddit and said that you should have done better. And someone's like, no, you passed someone a wide open player. It's not John's fault. It's like he was guarding that. He was marking that player. All right, he made it easy for Olise to assist Musiala. He needs to be on white on rice. He needs to put him under pressure harder. He was too casual. But in MLS, you can probably get away with that, but in the Bundesliga, you cannot. So
in MLS, Tolkien was not known for his lockdown defending either. He's there to hit free kicks and bomb forward.
You can't do that for Holstein Kiel either.
So he's gonna
that's another
right.
lesson.
So it's a little bit of an odd fit in that sense. But yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
That was moment one. And then I thought, there were one or two moments where Olise had his lunch. He was a little too wide open. And it's like he's struggling covering Olise. But I believe the counter, he did a good thing. I think he bombed down the left. And I want to say he started the movement to score the pullback goal, perhaps. Essentially, there were moments later where he started to handle Olise better. Because during the beginning, it was a lot of Olise coming down the right because they identified John Tolkien's left as the weak spot. So Bayern were coming down the left a lot in that first half. However, I think John Tolkien closed it down, and started to figure it out and really started to thwart Olise by the end of that first half. So good on him.
Kicker
Good on him.
gave Olise and Tolkien the same grade,
Oh, wow. What was the grade?
3.5, which is, 3 minus. That's a little less than, it's a little below average. But Olise gets the worst grade of all the attacking players. The D line, the defensive line, gets terrible grades.
That's harsh. He
from
assisted their
Kicker.
opening goal.
Well,
Olise assisted
everybody
their
else
opening goal. It's a little harsh.
Everybody else gets better grades, and but for John Tolkien, that's about only 5 of the starting 11 get a 3.5 or better, and so he's one of those. So he did all right, I guess. He did okay.
Yeah. He did okay because he got comfortable in the game. I think he was pulled out of the 80th minute or 78th minute or something. He was getting on a couple of offensive movements on the free kick and stuff. He was getting, trial by fire. He played 80 minutes in the very beginning. It's that thing I talked about last week, walking on eggshells. It's like, okay, we know this is a higher level of play. John Tolkien's never played against a team of this caliber before in his career. I'm confident in saying that. His entire experience is youth soccer, MLS, and the Olympic soccer. None of those teams are Bayern München. None of those boys are Harry Kane and the gang and Jamal Musiala. So this is probably the highest caliber game he's ever played up to his professional career at this point. And he did okay. He wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like you said, it was a tough game for Holstein Kiel. They had a guy come off the bench and score 2 goals in stoppage time to make it a wacky 4-3 game in typical Bundesliga fashion. It's hard to. But, Holstein Kiel held tight and played in the counter, but Bayern were the home team, dominated the possession, and Harry Kane scored 2 goals. And you're just not going to be Bayern and München most of the time. And Holstein Kiel are not immune to that. But, it's good he got time. Now I'd like to see John Tolkien, get better as he moves forward and play lesser teams. But his defensive capability, his one-on-one marking needs to improve. And I think that has to happen. It's kind of partly why he's there. To get better with that over time, because you have to. But yeah, that is my John Tolkien at Holstein Kiel at Bayern München analysis.
Very
We're
good.
also looking at your boy. You're looking at your boy.
Well,
over at St. Pauli.
Jimmy Sands is he got his 3rd start already. He's already a veteran compared to John Tolkien. He has 3rd, and one streak came to an end. Finally, St. Pauli gave up a goal with Jimmy Sands on the field. That had not happened previously. And Augsburg got sort of lucky, but he had a build up. He got the interception and then passed and made a great pass to start the sequence that led to St. Pauli's goal. So that was a very positive thing, because we hadn't seen a lot of his progressive passing at all. He's been just there as a destroyer. And so this was a great next step for him. He was part of that. Augsburg got very fortunate in this game to get away with a point. St. Pauli still looking very good and very lively. And Jimmy's in there. I don't know. It's like that team is very together. It's very compact defensively, and they have some quality up front, more than the other bottom feeder teams that we thought we'd be one. We thought they'd be one of them. We thought that they would be in there with the Kiels and the Bochums as relegation fodder, and they're not. They're 7 points ahead now of Heidenheim's of the relegation playoff spot. So they are not going down, and Jimmy Sands is part of that. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, it's looking good.
And we are sad about Jimmy Sands leaving, but we're happy that Hans Wolf is in the chat. Hello, boys and gals. He says, how's used? Did everyone hear that Hope Solo is coming back at age 43? Wow, is she really?
No, coming back where?
Where? What is she doing?
Yeah.
She is a warrior. If she holds the position, one hundo. Yeah, that's crazy. I had not heard this. Hope Solo has nothing better to do than be a goalkeeper again at age 43.
What club would take
Good
her?
luck to her. Yeah. What is where is she going? Bochum?
It better be
Manuel.
Angel City FC so I can watch that stuff.
She's gonna go
And
see
here in
her.
LA, here in Los Angeles, you're allowed to be a little wild. Hope Solo's a wild one, and you're allowed to be a little wild. I think allowed to be a little wild around here. She got caught stealing a car, I think, from U.S. Soccer once, and she has all sorts of I don't know, wild streaks about her. I do feel like it's been a little too much in the news sometimes. I think her big thing was always like the news are trying to make us out to be good girls, but we're not good girls or whatever it is. They're athletes and they're imperfect and I get that. I get that for she's a little Hope Solo's definitely rebellious. However, she also has some very serious crimes she's done. I think she has been in trouble.
Yeah,
with
there
assault.
were some. Yeah, it was some things went beyond rebelliousness,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah.
she also is a very accomplished, certainly a very accomplished goalkeeper, and she is leading a team at the soccer tournament in Cary, North Carolina, which I don't know what that
Oh,
is.
TST? Yeah, the
TST.
TST. It's every year. Jimmy Conrad's tournament. It's a lot of fun. Remember they had a weird fake Borussia Dortmund there and a fake West Ham there. I think Jürgen Klinsmann was on a team there.
I have never heard of this.
The soccer tournament, which I have brought up on this podcast before, I think I could need to Google it. Is it coming up again?
Must have been asleep for that one.
It is. It's this thing that Jimmy Conrad runs. It's in Cary at my old stomping grounds. And it's this it's kind of like the 3-on-3 basketball thing that Ice Cube does. It's like on TNT, I think. And it's just like, a football player played in it last year who was really good. He scored a great volley goal that went viral on YouTube. It's like a fun pickup tournament with celebrities and former soccer players called the Soccer Tournament, TST. And Borussia Dortmund sends a team. West Ham sends a team. I think Bayern München has a team, like a Legends team. Giovanni Elber, I think, played on it last year. And a lot,
Solo FC is going to be her team.
Who are her teammates?
I don't think we know yet.
Well, anyway, it's a fun tournament. I think Clint Dempsey plays in it, and it's on TV around here somewhere. Maybe it's even on Golasso. I don't know where it is, but yeah, maybe it's coming up. Can't believe it's already been a year since the last one. But good on Hope
Well, it's
Solo.
in June. It's in June. It's not really. It's not, it's not imminent.
I was gonna say. It seems yet another summertime soccer tournament for us to get excited about. FIFA Club World Cup, the Gold Cup,
something else that I can.
the League.
All right. Well, very good.
And
David Riccio is ready for Dortmund to go full Kovac. What is that? What do you think that means? Full Kovac.
Kovac 19. Kovac 19. I think
Kovac 19.
Borussia Dortmund. I was going to talk though because Gio Reyna did get off the bench. He got a yellow, but he got off the bench. He's been getting off the bench, and Borussia Dortmund did have a 2-1 win at Heidenheim over the weekend.
And they
under their interim coach, still under their old Danish group.
Beat Donetsk in the Champions League and didn't make it. I mean, we knew this. We knew that Bayern and Dortmund were a long shot because of their previous losses to make it in the top 8, and they didn't. But Leverkusen did, and Bayern and Dortmund both won, but it was not enough to get in the top 8. But Bayern gets Celtic, and Dortmund dodged Man City. That was a possibility.
Yeah,
they're playing
Sporting, Benfica, right?
Sporting, I believe. Sporting Lisbon, I think.
I would say it went really well for Leverkusen got the bye.
Yes.
And then Bayern München, like I said, they're in that round of 32, that playing game, the fake round. But Bayern and Dortmund would be both very happy, especially Bayern getting Celtic. CCV and Austin Trusty have quite themselves an assignment to try to contain Harry Kane and the boys.
Yeah,
and Dortmund have Sporting, and I think Dortmund and Bayern will both be very happy with their draws. And then those 3 teams are still in the Champions League. Stuttgart just missed out. They could not handle the might of
Paris Saint-Germain. They did not show up to their game. They needed a tie would have been enough, but they were not close. 4-1.
PSG. Come on now, it's PSG. Gotta give them a little credit.
They were just ahead of them. They were not. They had not done very well, but yeah, I guess. I mean,
well, Stuttgart, if I'm not mistaken, they finished 25th, right? They're only 1 spot out of the thing.
I don't think so. I'm gonna look.
I'm looking up right now. Oh, well, Yeah, let's
They were
see.
26. Zagreb surprisingly got a win and almost got in. But
How many
then
points?
there
They're only
was
1 point off, though, right? They're only out.
yeah,
Right
1
there.
point 1 point off. But
So Stuttgart just missed out, and then the new rules. This means no Europe at all for the rest of the year. It's not like they're going to the Europa League; they're done with Europe for the year, which means they have more time to focus on the Bundesliga.
Mhm.
So good on them. They are a kind of club that probably doesn't have the depth to manage multiple tournaments like the bigger clubs do, whereas a Dortmund and Bayern are more equipped to handle it. Same with the Leverkusen. So the 3 teams made it through, and now we've got 3 German teams to still root on in the Champions League. And Stuttgart will now have a better, hopefully more time for the domestic form. So
a win-win-win-win.
Win. Man City made it through. PSG made it through.
Barely. Right? Wow, City had to sweat. It was now. I was very excited. What did you think? Did you watch this all go down on Wednesday? Because it was everybody playing at the same time, and I was very excited. I was very excited about it, but in the end, I felt like it was too much. It was more exhausting than exciting. You just
focus on the storylines. You know, I was following a lot of the Americans too. And full disclosure, I think I was busy. I could only catch the second half, I think. So I caught the end, you know, and I think Juventus was 1 goal away from, or was it Milan? Milan was 1 goal away from.
Yeah, Milan was in and out of the bye. Yeah, there was some.
And they ended up being out of it.
In the end, it wasn't all that. It was, I mean, I guess the Zagreb, for Dinamo Zagreb, they were in and out.
It was a good day for me because PSV beat Liverpool. Ricardo Pepi with a great goal. Gio Reyna with a great back heel for Borussia Dortmund. You know, the Americans showed up. Celtic got through. Every American got through. No Americans were eliminated.
Pepe got an extension at PSV, but then a terrible injury. So
yeah, he's out for. I forgot. I don't know if they announced it, but it's between 1 and 3 months.
Out for some time. Serious. Yeah.
But he got himself a great little goal, I think, and an assist at PSV against Liverpool. You know, it's fun. That's why you do it. And FC Dallas, who's futzing around, not scoring goals, goes to PSV. He's scoring against Liverpool in a packed stadium. Everyone cheering his name, global broadcast. That's what you want Americans to do. So the boys at PSV got through. The boys at Celtic got through. Gio Reyna Dortmund got through. And all 4 of our Americans in Italy got through. Juventus and Milan did get through despite maybe being a little disappointed. Like Juventus got in 20th place and he got in kind of low. But Weston McKennie had the captain's armband on. He captained that game.
He's now a captain.
Yeah. He every year they try to get rid of him and give him 6 months. He's your team captain. So good on Wes, good on Tim Weah, good on Yunus Musa, who got a red card by the 40th minute. He had 2 silly fouls.
What was he thinking? That was no good. He was on a yellow.
And Zagreb, you know, and it's fun. Christian Pulisic is Croatian, so you had to go to Croatia for that. And Zagreb is an intense place. I've seen games there before. It's such a weird stadium where it's like half it's a loop, but the other half is 3. It's a typical weird ass Eastern European construction of some sort. But you know, I'm sure it's intense. I think it was cold and it was rainy and it was all Zagreb fan. But they pulled it off. I think they got themselves 2-2. They got themselves a point to move forward. And you know, I was just watching it, kind of happy it's over. You know, the league phase is over. Now we have this play-in home and away coming up to get it started. That I understand a little bit better. It's easier to follow. And there you go. I don't know.
I thought some of these group stage games were very, very cool. This one, it was like, I don't know, too many games, too many goals. It's too hard to follow. I don't know. That was my opinion.
It was a record because that many games have never kicked off at the same time. But I understand why, because
obviously,
you don't want anybody to know the results ahead of time.
That would
so you have to.
Would be a huge advantage. Yeah, no, it's obvious why they don't do that. And then Hoffenheim gave it a good run, but they only had a mathematical chance in the Europa League. But Frankfurt is through, even though they didn't play well, lost to Roma on the road. But still made got a bye, but Hoffenheim missed out by a point in the end.
So is Frankfurt, what is the Europa League situation? I haven't followed. Is Frankfurt the only German team left in it?
Frankfurt is the only German team left in it, finished 5th and has a bye for these, misses out on gets to skip the playoff round, which has such heavy hitters as Roma, FC Porto, Galatasaray, Ajax, Anderlecht are in the play-in. So there's some heavy hitters, but then you have some, you have Bodo Glimt was close to a bye, actually. But then
they have been
conceded
Bodo Glimt is the little Norwegian club that can. They've been punching above their weight for a while now. Remember, they had a great run in the Champions League, I think, a season or two ago. But the Frankfurt has a real chance of winning the Europa League. So there's only one German team in it, but they have a chance of winning it, I think. I don't think any team in there is really overpowered against them.
Well,
Frankfurt are having a good season.
How about Tottenham? How about Tottenham with Matisse Tell now in their ranks? You don't think so?
Well, but Tottenham still has
Manchester United. Manchester United is in there. Lazio Roma with Tati Castellanos. They
Manchester United.
They're in first.
Oh, I shudder. I shudder in fear.
Nobody fears. Nobody fears United currently. I'm not saying they're going to
what?
Win, but
what? You just proposed. You just said they were. I'm talking about How about Manchester United? It's like, oh, aren't they a championship club?
No, I'm just saying. I was just no. Well, I mean, hardly, but I don't know. I don't know that Frankfurt is a favorite. I think they have a chance.
I didn't say they were favorites. I said they can win it.
They can win it.
It's sort of Tottenham and Man United and Roma. They're not. I'm not saying they're not. But if Eintracht Frankfurt plays Tottenham in the final, Tottenham will probably be favorites. But Frankfurt can win.
They struggled very much, but they're now getting It'll be interesting. David Reacher says that full Kovac is full badass. He's going to give them some mentalität. I mean, that's definitely what they need. Some mentalität. How do you give people mentalität? Well,
you can. That is something that's very interesting to talk about. I mean, I think Ted Lasso's the show's all about it. I'm getting a lot of Ted Lasso on my YouTube algorithm, and I'm like, I should probably start watching that show.
You understand this is a fictional. He doesn't exist.
I know.
He's a fictional character.
However, the whole point of Ted Lasso is it boils down to combating toxic masculinity. That fun term that gets thrown around a lot. It is about putting down your guards, being supportive of each other, men, in that locker room, and just putting all the toxicity away and fighting your demons. And that's what that show's about, and it leads to success. And in a sports psychology realm, I believe that has a lot to do with it as well. It is known that teams hire sports psychologists, and sports psychologists make a difference, sometimes for the worse, but sometimes for the better. I don't exactly know the specifics of who has what. I think most teams do these days. I could be wrong.
For sure.
But I'm not saying Niko Kovac is going that route. Some play like a Jurgen Klopp. Some players just know how to rally the troops. Like some players know how to get the best of your boys. Borussia Dortmund, their players are individually stronger than they are. Like there's a lot of power on that team. And that team
on paper, we were very impressed with them before the season with their signings. It seemed like it was all, but yeah, there's a I think mentalität is the word to use. I think there is something slack about them. They are not they're not more than the sum of their parts. And we'll see. I mean, I'm interested. I'm very interested to see what happens there. And I guess from an American point of view, since this is the title of the show, how are our boys saying? It's like the Gio Reyna thing. Gio Reyna didn't go anywhere, right? The transfer window has closed, and I think positive in this case. I don't think he should. We disagreed on this. He said he needed a new club. He can do it. He can do it in Dortmund.
Quiz.
quiz.
There are two Americans in Borussia Dortmund. we keep an
Oh
eye on.
yeah, the other guy.
What's the name of the other one?
I don't know his
What's the name of
name.
the other one?
I don't know his name.
Oh yeah, German American podcaster. You don't know his name? His name is Cole Campbell.
That's right.
He's a young American whippersnapper making his way through the Borussia Dortmund youth ranks. He's been getting first team minutes. So will Cole Campbell get more minutes? Because one thing to shake a team up is let the kids play. Maybe Girona will get more minutes. But what I will say is I've criticized Dortmund before by relying on kids too much. Over the summer, Watzke stepped down and they had Lars Ricken take over. And under Lars Ricken, they spent money and they signed German performers. Maxi Bayer, Waldemar Anton, Gerassi. You know, they stormed Stuttgart and the like, and they got themselves, you know, and then I'm like, hey, and then they paired it with some rookie coach, Nuri Sahin. And I was like, no. Especially with a bunch of new kids, you need a veteran coach. They learned that the hard way, and then they fired. I was shipping Urs Fischer. He was on the list, but they ended up hiring a Niko Kovac. And I'm like, you know what? That's a pretty good hire, too, I think it's a good hire. He's not like a super veteran coach, but he was really great with Wolfsburg. He was really great with Eintracht Frankfurt. And he was, he was at Bayern München, but you can't, sometimes can't really blame a guy for the time at Bayern a lot of times because Bayern is a special little beast. But he's a coach. He's been around. He's a big-time coach. He's won titles. I believe he won the Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt, right? Before I talk at a school, let me Google Niko Kovac.
He did. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
so he's a title-winning coach. And now he's at Borussia Dortmund. I think the appointment is great, like David Riccio. I'm excited for it. I think he's going to get him to play well. What are your thoughts on the Niko Kovac appointment?
Yeah, I think I'm not kidding. I think he is the guy. He's the guy they need. But is he enough? Can he get these Luschen into form? We'll see. They're in 11th place now. Where is Dortmund at the end of the year, Stefan?
How many games do they have left?
14
16,
games.
15, 14?
14.
14 games. I think 30 more points. Is that too aggressive?
30 more points in 14 games? That would put them at 56. No,
yeah, that's
59.
That's not great. Oh, yeah, that's about what they get. Where are they at now? Dortmund are at 29.
11 to 29, 11th place.
59th. And then what? Let me do a little. Hold on. You asked me to take it seriously. Let me do a little history here. Bundesliga table last year was
59 points. Is probably 59.
They had 63 points last year. They had 63 points last year in total.
And
maybe even more than 30 points. I don't know. I think they'll get 30 points. So they'll have 59 points and they'll finish like 4th place.
You're saying they're going to get 59 points and they're going to finish 4th. Okay.
Well, last year, 6th place was 47. 5th place was 63. But hold on. Germany, they might finish 5th because top 5 spots is the UEFA Champions League, right?
Not this year. Last year it was because of the coefficient. The coefficient worked in Germany's favor, and we got the 5th Champions League spot. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen this year. The 5th Champions League spot is almost certainly going to go to England. So we're going to have 4.
Well, maybe they'll just miss out on Europe then this year because they are 11th place. I think 30 points.
Champions League
30 points.
There's the Conference League and there's
Europa League. Conference League would be disappointing for Dortmund. I think they'll just get into hopefully the Europa League. So I think on 59 points, they'll probably be 5th. Let's say 5th. What do you think?
Okay. I'll take the under. On this.
What is 6th? What's the under?
I don't think they'll get 30 points. I think they'll
14 games and 30 points means they're allowed to lose 4 games, I guess that's tight. They lose to Leverkusen, you lose to Bayern. And then
I'm going to put them in the Conference League. I'm going to say they're going to finish 6th.
But like I said, this is a good appointment. They need to get to know each other a little better, and it needs to set them up for a successful maybe next season. They need to, and then come swing. I think Niko Kovac is a great appointment. They finally have it right. They have themselves a veteran coach, some powered players that have earned themselves a spot. They should be doing better than they're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean that's been true all season. They get a first big test on Saturday, Stuttgart at home.
Well, that's your big one right there. They need to get, if they get points on that one, that's a big one.
Mhm.
Stuttgart was just unlike Dortmund, Stuttgart has the whole rest of the season of just domestic games. So yeah, that'll be a big game. Stuttgart at second place. Oh no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong. Sorry, I was on the wrong table.
Last year, Stuttgart is in fifth place currently. Stuttgart is in fifth place, and I mean
right
they're only 3 points behind. So even this victory could move them quite a bit up in the table. So they're not that far off. But I don't think they'll get 30 points. I don't think they get close.
30 points. You do the under. Mainz lost over the weekend at home to Werder Bremen, a 10-man Werder Bremen. They are hosting Augsburg on Saturday to play against Noakai Banks. We'll see. And then they're at Heidenheim and they host St. Pauli the next 3 games. There should be a good string of games for Mainz, as Mainz sits comfortably in 6th place, definitely punching above their weight. We'll talk about the little team that could.
Well, John Tolkien is getting after he got a trial by fire against Bayern, he gets something a little more his speed. Bochum's coming to town, to Kiel, and so that's a big one. It's a big one for us. We already had them at home and could only get a tie. If we can't get anything out of this game, we're not going to get a lot of road points if we can't get them in Kiel. So that's a big one for Bochum. Another do or die.
Well, I would avoid going down Tolkien's channel because he's on fire and he's got your number. Okay, Jersey Express. Okay. Other Americans in the Bundesliga, Nathaniel Brown played for
Felix Passlack. Felix Passlack will be a little easier than Michael Olise.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Hans Wolf got invited by a friend to spectate the last 2 TST. I think he says TNT, but he means TST. Yeah. But he couldn't go. He had a work conflict.
The TST is fun. There was an American football player.
David Riccio agrees with me that Dortmund will rise, but will not get 30 points. Are they still in the Pokal?
Yeah, maybe 30 points is too much. But
I don't think they are. But
I'm going to take it at 27 points. 27 points.
All right, David, we talked him down 3 points. Good job.
Like a used car, you're talking me down points.
Dortmund, Dortmund no longer in the cup. No. Bayern not either. So
the DFB Cup.
There's 8 teams left. We have and it's good. It's good we're bringing that up because it's happening. It's happening tomorrow. Stuttgart against Augsburg and Bayer Leverkusen against Köln. So, and then it's weird. They have 2 games tomorrow, Wednesday, and then the other 2 are not until the 25th and 26th. So they have it weirdly broken up. And we have Arminia Bielefeld from Liga 3 against Werder Bremen and RB Leipzig against Wolfsburg. So it's wide open. I guess Leverkusen on paper, you'd have to say, is the favorite.
Right.
But neither Bayern nor Dortmund are still in it. And so Stuttgart, I guess, those are the contenders.
Yeah, that is a fun game, though. Bayer Leverkusen versus Köln. The second division.
It's the local derby. They are very close. Physically very close.
I wonder if Gerhard Struber will get one over on Xabi Alonso. God, talk about MLS to Europe transfers and the big times. I mean, Gerhard Struber was going up against Robin Fraser. Who did he go up against in MLS? He went up against Josh Wolf.
Tata Martino.
But facing the tactical minds of Xabi Alonso versus Josh Wolf are 2 different things. And look at Gerhard Struber doing it within a year. Good for him. He went straight to the Champions League after MLS and got last place in his group. And now he's playing. Now he's a DFB Pokal against Xabi Alonso and the Bayer Leverkusen boys. I look forward to seeing that.
That's on Wednesday.
It's just always fun seeing boys on the sidelines in that small stadium out in New Jersey. And only a year or 2 go by, and boom, they're in Bayern München. They're at Bayer Leverkusen. They're there. They're in the big time, baby. They're in the big time.
This doesn't happen
RB
all
Leipzig.
that often.
No, that's why it's exciting.
It's
It's
yeah,
nice.
it is right. I mean,
Nice.
listen, I get excited for MLS characters all over the world. I do have that allegiance. Like Gerhard Struber, no, I don't have a. I guess because what? Yeah, I guess a Red
Well, you know what he
Bull
represents?
coach. Yeah,
You know
I
what he
don't know.
represents?
What does he represent?
But you know what he represents, though, which is why there's different feelings. Like him and Jesse Marsh are two different things. He represents a Euro snob who's having it easy. You know, like he's part of this big global
Failing,
soccer organization.
failing upward.
He fails up
Continues to
because
fail.
he has an
upward.
accent. He has an accent, so he fails up.
Even though he
And it's just like-
he can't really drink out of a water bottle properly.
No, even though
Well-
poor Jesse Marsh can't get more than 3 months stretched together anywhere. Even though I would rate him as a much higher tactician and much more.
Wait, is he
capable
not
than
in
Gerhard
this? Did he get fired in Canada? No.
No, I meant in Leipzig, he was
okay.
there for
Oh, all right.
2 months. And then at Leeds, he was there for 6 months, but still, it's like you couldn't get a full season anywhere outside of Austria. But so plenty of them I root for. Speaking on the MLS front, Cucho Hernandez made his way to Spain. I look forward to that.
Oh,
Look forward to
Cucho's
Cucho Hernandez.
out in Columbus.
He's out in Columbus, and he went to
Oh,
Real
I have
Betis,
not- I have
10th
not
place in La Liga. Real Betis is not a small club. Like, that's a big... And, you know, with clubs like that, I assumed he was going to go to Club America or Pachuca or one of those... Because Mexican clubs like to buy up our DPs, especially ones that are native Spanish speakers, like a Cucho is Colombian. So I assumed he was going to go to Liga MX next, but now he's like, screw Liga MX. He went to Spain.
He's going
Good
to
on him.
Spain. All right.
He's going to Spain, baby. He's going to Spain. I look forward to that. Definitely checking out him. Real Betis, the home of Johnny Cardozo, right? Or did he go to Tottenham already?
Johnny
Cardozo's
Cardozo is going to Tottenham. What?
He's been linked to Tottenham all year. Johnny Cardozo is still at Real Betis. Never mind.
So he's
So he'll
going to
be
be
playing-
friends with Cucho.
Johnny Cardozo and Cucho together. That's a good match in Spain and España.
That's a
As far as other Americans,
it's a big hit
as far
for
as
the
other
team.
Americans in the Bundesliga, we've had Nathaniel Brown, Eintracht Frankfurt, solid game. Noah Kai Banks, Augsburg, that's the one we got to keep a close eye on for next week. Timmy Chandler still on the bench at Frankfurt. The dude at Wolfsburg has been playing. I guess he's injured. Crap, his name escapes me.
Oh, you can't
Forgot his
remember?
name.
You have a German American
I know.
podcast. Leonard Maloney.
No, not Leonard Maloney. He's
Oh,
also
he's
injured.
in-
He's not playing.
He's in
Heidenheim.
Heidenheim. Yeah.
I knew you were going to get me on that. I knew you were going to get me on that. I'm at Wolfsburg. His name is American at Wolfsburg. His name is Kevin Paredes.
Kevin Paredes.
Kevin Paredes. I believe he's also been injured because he's been out for a bit. Yeah, there's probably one or two players I'm actually missing here. Let's see.
Americans?
There was one other
It's
one.
Not that many.
Joe Scally.
Joe Scally is
I thought you
Joe
mentioned Joe
Scally.
Scally.
There was a stat. Oh, I meant to write it
Most
down.
hamburgers?
He was the third youngest to in Gladbach history to a certain number of Bundesliga games, and the three others were all big legends.
Lothar Matthäus and the like.
Lothar Matthäus, Berti Vogts, and I don't remember
And
the
Joe
third.
Scally?
And
Oh.
Joe Scally is number 4. There was another
that's
one.
big,
that was
dude.
also, so yeah, it was a pretty big. I was like, wow, okay, yeah. I mean, we do forget that he became a Bundesliga starter right out of the NYCFC academy. Basically, he didn't get a lot of time on the first team, and he was very young, and so like he hasn't exactly.
He benched that veteran Austrian player.
Set the
What's his
world on
name?
fire, but he's gotten a lot of starts at a very young age. So yeah,
They
the
trust
other
him?
the other guys that got to it's 100 starts probably was what it was, 100 Bundesliga starts got there sooner are all like very, very legendary guys. So good on you, Joe Scally.
Well done, Joe Scally. Well done. See, there you go. He's probably the most consistent American in Germany for a while now. He's doing the old Steve Trundle track. The other one is Jordan Pifak coming off the bench for an Union Berlin scoreless DDR derby between Union Berlin and RB Leipzig.
And I mean, beyond the Bundesliga, we have to mention Tyler Adams, because he is now he's back. He's back starting, and Bournemouth are incredibly incredibly successful. They're challenging for Europe. They're doing and they're coached by Andoni Iraola, who played for NYCFC. He played for NYCFC.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Andoni Iraola was part of the 2016 team, and he came as a right back. He came from, I believe, Atletico Bilbao, I think, and he was playing right back. And he was towards the end of his playing career. But then the genius move of Coach Patrick Vieira at the time was moving Iraola from right back to defensive midfielder, and he became basically Pirlo's bodyguard and did the defensive duties that Pirlo was unwilling or unable to perform, and that worked very well. And that 2016 team made the playoffs for the first time, and then everybody got hurt, and Toronto beat us 7-0 in 2 games. That was also the year that Jack Harrison was drafted. Jack Harrison, who is now no longer starter, but was playing for Everton, also in the Premier League. And that front line in those days, the starting front line, the midfield was Andoni Iraola, Frank Lampard, Andrea Pirlo, and up front it was Jack Harrison, David Villa, and Tommy McNamara.
Tommy Mac, the best one of the bunch. He's the real legend there. Amazing. Where was Ben Sweat? Was he around at that time?
Ben Sweat came a little bit later. I think Ben Sweat was more in the 2018-2019 team, if I'm not mistaken. But
thanks for bringing up Tyler Adams, because Tyler Adams is healthy, thank God. When he is healthy and focused, he is a great player. He is probably one of our low-key, probably the best American in Europe. If you didn't know any better. I mean, he's just such a solid holding mid. And when he is healthy, like he was linked to Arsenal a year or two ago. Like when he is healthy and playing at his best, his numbers are amazing. And he is exactly the kind of guy that if he stays healthy for a year or two, knock on wood, I'm knocking on wood, he can make his way to Arsenal or something like that. I can see that.
Well, and I mean,
I would love it for him.
Yeah, and like we talked about last time, it's like this is not there's not a lot of people like that who go from MLS starters to the Prem or to the top 5 leagues. There's not that many of those stories that happen successfully. So it's worth appreciating, even though, despite the fact that he did play for the Red Bulls.
Well, he was 17, and he was one of our confident. He was like a captain at 17. He just always had it in him. From Wappingers Falls. You want to hear a 6th degree of Stefan Schnitzel?
You've been to the movies with his cousin?
Almost. My brother-in-law's brother is very close to his parents because they're from the same area.
Oh, okay.
And I think he's adopted, by the way. I don't know if it's TMI or I don't know if he wants this exposed on the podcast, but he grew up. Too late now. It's okay. Our numbers are not super high, so I think his secret's safe with us and our listeners at home. Okay, but he's probably not that. But he's from a family, and they're very supportive of him, and he worked his little butt off and loved soccer. Guys, anyway, long story short, he was like a 17-year-old adult. All right, he had known he was 17, and he was crushing for us down in Mexico. We were at the CONCACAF Champions League that season, and then he went to RB Leipzig as our most successful academy grad during our relationship. And he walked right down in that starting lineup. And if it weren't for that crazy injury, he probably would have had more of an effect. He had a long layoff injury. And then from there, he went to Leeds and Bournemouth. And the only thing that's gotten in the way is injuries. Yeah. When he's healthy, he's very good. He plays when he's healthy. And you're right. There was really no growing pains. Like the minute he went to Leipzig, he showed up. I mean, he played, and he played well. So the dude's good to go. And he's very confident in himself, and I pray he stays healthy and can have himself a good prime in his career because he's in his mid-20s now.
Fingers
Hope he
crossed.
stays healthy
Yeah,
as he gets
fingers
into his late
crossed.
20s and stuff.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
as he is. Him
All right.
with Pulley and McKinney are the American trifecta. Anyway, speaking of Americans, there was a graphic recently that Major League Soccer, Atlanta United just broke an MLS record. They just spent $22 million on a player from England, I think, which is the biggest MLS has ever spent on a player ever. And MLS in total has spent more on player transfers this window than the Bundesliga has. The Bundesliga does not spend as much on players that MLS
That's
does.
wild. Well, I mean,
Well, yeah, how do you feel about that? What do you think about? What are your thoughts on that?
well, it's a little bit apples and oranges in the sense that this is our, for MLS, this is really the off season. This is the beginning of the year, whereas in Bundesliga is not usually all that active in the January window. So it's not. I
And
bet
MLS
if you
has 6 more teams too, so it's 6 more.
right,
No,
right,
more than that. No, hold on, 12 more teams.
12
right?
more
What's
teams.
the-
Yeah, it's now 30.
12 more
There's
teams.
there's what's the new
San
one?
Diego.
San Diego.
San Diego. Luca De La Torre and
Oh yeah, hard to keep track. So they have almost twice as many teams, and this is I mean, I think if you compare spending this window with like a Bundesliga summer window, I bet it's still significantly less. That's what I would venture to think. I mean, like Harry Kane alone, that costs more than
Right.
the entire. So I think it's a little bit apples and oranges, but I think it's still significant in the sense that I am certainly getting a little, because my team has not signed anyone except a couple homegrowns, and I definitely am looking. I look at Wilfried Zaha showing up and all these signings. Miggy Almiron's coming back. Then the guy you mentioned, Atlanta has really stocked up. Charlotte's got a bunch of new people. And so I'm like, all right, yeah, where are our new players? So
where's the parity, right? Why like all this parity nonsense? Some clubs don't buy anybody, and some clubs buy like Atlanta bought Miggy and this $22 million guy.
Well, we have spent big money on young players. They just haven't worked out, and I guess this is what we're going to find. Our famous Serbian wonder striker Jovan Mijatovic. Get ready! I score too much goals. That was his line when he arrived. He scored too much goal. He scored 1 goal exactly in his time here, and then he decided he was not interested in being in America anymore. And now he's in the Belgian. He ended up in the Belgian league on loan. Thales Magno is on loan. I mean, we have these big ticket signings, but they haven't worked. And so this is the year we're going to find out if this is a problem. If this is a problem with the coach, or if we've been signing chumps. And
it might be a problem with the fans. That might be also a thing. Maybe the players don't want to play for the fans because look at the fans. They're like, screw this. They don't even want to play for you guys. That could also be part of it. Have you realized that?
That's a ridiculous. This is an outrageous. This is outrageous and preposterous, and
something to think about.
And that cannot be it. Too many baseball. It's the stadiums. It's like, oh, I didn't know.
Just the fans.
I didn't know we were playing in a baseball stadium.
Yeah, that's what he was like. He's like, hold on, I'm kicking all these home runs and no one's thanking me for it.
No.
So he had the behavior of Zlatan, but he didn't have the talent of Zlatan, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, what to be seen. I guess we will see if he's going to light up the Belgian league. Thales Magno, after his initial, he had some early success, but then they signed Memphis Depay, and then he sat again. I mean, it's all soccer's just weird.
Where Corinthians?
Yeah, and
wow.
Yeah, player development is just a wild ride. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. David Riccio is saying, for past and present New Yorkers on the pod, I signed up for the 5-borough bike tour on the first Sunday in May. Looking forward to riding my bike across the Verrazano Bridge. Not really. he
Sweet.
says. Well, I've
Oh.
done the 5-borough bike tour, and it's a pretty mellow affair. Like, there's a lot of stops. You get a lot of food. You can probably gain weight.
Hell yeah. That's
on
my
this
type. That's my type of event.
if you bring some of your own snacks. So, but the
If you
Verrazano,
drive through on the other side of the Verrazano Bridge is Bay Ridge and Sunset Park, where I used to live. And Sunset Park has the best Mexican food in New York. You go stop, get a bunch of these trucks, get a bunch of tortas, and a bunch of. I'm telling you, you should stop every 3 doors and get a taco. And pupusas, whatever you want in there. So
it's not the
that's part
5-borough
of the
eating
tour, then.
tour. You're just supposed to bike.
Oh,
But yeah, they close. I
You
mean, what's
can eat on
fun
your
is they
bike.
really close down the streets, and it's a cool thing. I ran across the Verrazano Bridge on the marathon in November, so I know, it's a long bridge. But
I ran across the Verrazano Bridge too, but I was just avoiding the Staten Island Police Department. It
Oh,
wasn't it was just a marathon. I was just trying to cross borders. Ew.
Oh, hello. You thought you thought that if you changed, they couldn't chase you into Brooklyn, Staten Island.
Yeah, I
Police.
thought, quick,
Staten
get on the
Island.
bridge.
Staten Island, and then they arrested you in Brooklyn. You're like, you don't have jurisdiction. They're like, no, that's not how
they're
that
like,
works.
yeah, we do.
Oh,
We're both New York. We're all NYPD.
you mean
You never left New York.
I ran across this huge ass bridge for
thought-
nothing?
I thought I was allowed to steal whatever I want in Staten Island, and I could be prosecuted when I get to Brooklyn.
Thought if I crossed borough lines, I was safe.
Yeah, I guess I didn't understand, bro. Do you know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is? You ever heard that term?
No, I have not.
The Dunning-Kruger effect was a study that two professors did, one named Dunning and his TA was named Kruger or something. It's the belief that someone is so stupid that they don't know. They're so stupid they don't know how stupid they are. So it's based on this famous case where these two guys robbed a bank and they put lemon juice on their face. So they thought if they put lemon juice on their faces will be invisible to cameras. It's just a fact. They're just like, this is a fact. If we cover our face in lemon juice, we'll be invisible to cameras. Let's do it. So they did it, and their faces obviously were in full HD clear vision.
This didn't work.
It didn't work, but for whatever reason, they just convinced themselves that was a fact, and then these professors did a study, and that's now known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. Of just that people are too stupid to know that their ideas are too stupid. Yeah. So me crossing borough lines, thinking of
borough lines to
countries
evade the police didn't work.
would be a Dunning-Kruger. But no, the
You
reality is
should've,
I have not done. But
that's-
I am still
the other thing
scheduled
you
to go
told that
skiing next week.
not only did I cross borough lines, I put lemon juice on my.
Yeah.
Why? How are you even seeing me right now?
Don't you smell the lemon juice? You shouldn't be seeing my face right now. I guess the only other thing in U.S. soccer is that the Rocco B. Camiso U.S. Soccer Federation
Yes.
lawsuit has
trial.
finished, and U.S. Soccer has won on every account. Rocco won nothing. He
we
lost
kinda-
all of it.
We kind of knew, right? We kind of knew that.
I
was gonna happen.
don't even understand what the lawsuit is. I don't really get it. Like we talked before, it's just about money.
No,
It's
the
about Rocco money or something,
the
but-
lawsuit, the gist of it is, it's the idea that MLS is in bed with U.S. Soccer and they colluded to hold back NASL.
which is true. It's factually
no,
correct.
That's not.
But he
factually
couldn't
correct.
prove it in court.
How is
I
it
mean, it
factually
is true.
correct?
Because do you know that Belmont Stadium in Long Island, the Belmont Stadium project,
Yeah,
the
that's
New York Cosmos
the
Stadium project,
The Islanders are
right? Don Garber made sure behind the scenes to make that not happen. He threatened, not threatened, but he found ways to make sure that wouldn't happen. He got out of his way using his government, who's it, and they went on the offensive to make sure that stadium never got built because it was a non-MLS market. It was non-MLS team in an MLS market. That's A. B, they have usurped, like San Diego is a perfect example. They've gone to NASL markets, and those have surprisingly been the next expansion, like Cincinnati. That was Cincinnati. That was the next expansion assignment. They would go to NASL markets, and they would try to take over or compete and shut down the other club. They did with San Diego. They did with Cincinnati. Like, I'm not a lawyer, but Rocco should have done better with this. There is evidence that he's correct. Now, I don't really understand the point of calling it I don't understand the point of trying to challenge it being an antitrust. I don't know what the legality of that is. Clearly, there's not much of it because it was thrown out pretty quickly.
The jury was
also
not.
Rocco was in trouble because he had a burner account where he made fun of MLS and USR the whole time. And I'm just like, who cares? How would that have any sort of legal? Why would that be? Why would that have any sort of legal issue? And apparently it does, and it didn't go well for him.
Well, I think, yeah, okay.
If he were to win that case,
NASL was just not a well capitalized league. Like, they just didn't have the muscle, and then their big investor went under. So
Traffic, right? The Brazilian one, yeah.
So
one of the big investors was caught. It was called Traffic Sports, but it ended up being like a drug trafficking organization, oddly enough. But like, I don't understand what would have happened if they won. Like, I didn't understand the.
Well, they wanted some. Like they wanted some money. They were suing them for $500 million, and then the judge reduced it just ahead of time. The judge reduced it to $386 million. I don't know how they arrive at these figures, but even the judge initially was like, "Your math doesn't even math because you don't have that many damages to prove." They brought in Carmelo Anthony. And Carmelo Anthony had a stake in a team, and he testified and said that U.S. Soccer screwed them up. But then in cross-examination, they said, "Oh, but you said that you had to pull out because of the hurricane in Puerto Rico was made it impossible." And he's like, "Yeah, that was the main reason, but then it's also U.S. Soccer." I mean, I don't know. I think this narrative that keeps going around that MLS is somehow holding back the growth of the sport in this country is very pervasive. A lot of people believe this, but I don't think it's not very. I mean, the jury wasn't convinced, and I'm not really convinced either. I think other leagues have the opportunity to exist, and USL is making it happen on a smaller scale, and NASL. It just never seemed like it was going to work, but not because U.S. Soccer tried to sabotage them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about this Belmont thing. So the Cosmos were going to build a stadium in Belmont, and that was going to, with what money?
Money they had. This was 10, 20, 15 years ago, and it just never happened. And all of a sudden we're like, why? And then someone came out that Don Garber
15 years ago
back when it would have been the first
long time.
I think the Red Bull Stadium existed. I don't even know if NYCFC was even a thing yet, or maybe it was around that same time.
We started in 2015.
Yeah,
I know this the Belmont Stadium, the Belmont site was at some point was kicked around for an NYCFC.
Right, stadium. MLS had to get rid of the Cosmos first. Because they didn't want another organization building a stadium, and their organization could not.
But the Cosmos also could have been NYCFC, but they didn't want to. Isn't that true?
Yeah, sure, but that's a little unrelated. That's a few years prior to that. But the Cosmos is another example. Like, there was also a guy who wanted to remember this fake thing. Like, I think it was fake. This was like also 5 years ago or so, where a guy was going to invest $2 billion in
MLS,
NASL,
if there was
or MLS.
If there was pro-rel. If there
was pro-rel, though, it's like part of the caveat. Yeah, wasn't it some group in Florida or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was
MLS is just like, no thanks. And then they commissioned a Deloitte. What were they called? Deloitte. They're a famous firm that makes surveys. They commissioned a Deloitte survey that says promotion relegation is better or something like that. All I know is that a lot of hucksters have come in. I mean, back when your new owner, what was his name? Bolivar? What's his name? The guy from Bolivia? The new NYCFC owner. Yeah. I don't know his name. I don't know his name. It escapes me at the moment.
Claret. Yeah.
Yeah, Marcelo Claure. When he was going to invest in MLS way back in the day, he was going 50-50 in with Barcelona for a new Miami franchise. This is like 2008-ish.
Right.
Before 2007. Barcelona's like, yes, however, we will only be wearing Nikes. That's a rule. It's an unbreakable rule. And MLS is like, okay, bye. It's like, we have an unbreakable rule too. We only play Adidas. We have an exclusive contract with Adidas. You have to wear Adidas. And then Barcelona's like, nope, we wear Nike. And then they were just going at it. But I'm just like, it's already a non-starter. Why are they even continuing pretending like it's going to exist? So a lot of investors come in with a splash. The Cosmos splash was nuts. Like 2012-ish. I'm getting my years mixed up. They had what's his face, that famous Frenchman, as their director of soccer. Then Kobe Jones was the director of soccer, but there was no team. They bought a bunch of ads, and then they had this British dude named Paul Kemsley. Like, it was just this weird, sketchy ass thing that was happening. And it's like you're talking about, it was around the time when New York was looking for a new team.
And they were, and they didn't want to give up the name because MLS.
They were Umbro. And like, Umbro till we die. And I was like, that's not how we operate. And New York was like, we'll do our own thing. We're going to just be an exhibition team. And they were just doing this thing where we'll do our own thing. And it's like, no, if you want an MLS, you got to play MLS's ball game. I mean, they've got rules, and it's just do your thing. I remember Joey Saputo took a while to get in because he kept trying to get a discount. He's like, if I build a stadium, the amount of money I spend on my expansion fee will be taken off for the stadium, right? He kept like saying that.
No.
MLS is like, no.
This is the thing. This is the thing. These teams have put up so much money for these, for the stadiums, the infrastructure. It's just like apples and oranges. So for NASL to be like, well, we would have been contenders if only, you hadn't been in our way. I mean, it's just like, it's not credible.
The big story, though, is this. I mean, again, I feel they should have had a better court. I don't really get the point of a court case, but MLS and U.S. Soccer definitely collude and try to focus on their success over the success of others. I do believe that. Do I have hardcore proof? No, but I've read articles my whole life. Fan. There's definitely evidence. There's a little clue. There's some smoke some places. And
but I mean, it's like there's one thing. It's one thing. I mean, it's one thing to promote your, you want to promote the league and make it successful, but it's like, what did they, like it's at the expense of other people though? Like what did they do it all hinged on this like licensing thing where they eventually didn't give them a Division I license. And that's the big, but that was because they never fulfilled the requirements to have that license.
Right.
They got dispensations for years and years. So, I mean, yeah,
but also
US Soccer and MLS were very tight, obviously, especially when there was Soccer United marketing, all those things. That can't be denied. Nobody's denying that. But it's like, is that the reason why NASL didn't succeed? The jury did not think so.
No, I wouldn't say the core reason, no. But the big picture is this. In the United States, soccer never made money. It was one failure after another. Failure. 100 marketing companies, 100, they got it, failed. Then the MLS, after years of perseverance, figured it out. MLS and U.S. Soccer finally started making hand over fist money, and they got themselves this gold mine. And since it's happened, everybody and their mother's coming in trying to get a piece of it. And MLS and U.S. Soccer do what they do to protect their own interests. And if you want to make money, you have to do it on your own, and they're all failing. Because soccer is a hard thing to make money off of.
Well, it's also...
Historically, also what we've seen is specifically with a guy named Charlie Stilitano, the former Metro Stars GM, there have been histories of high-level executives who have left MLS to fight MLS and lost. Charlie Stilitano started something called Champions World, which was the organization that brought in big European teams like Manchester United, Juventus, the Giant Stadium and stuff. And they made bank where MLS was struggling. And Charlie Stilitano was very critical of MLS. And these marketing guys made, like, he runs at Relevant Sports now. It's still the same stuff. They're trying to make money off soccer, but off foreign soccer in this country. And MLS, like Don Garber, who said, like, everyone's just trying to use this as an ATM machine, is trying to cash in on that. He wants a piece of the pie because they're fighting. And when Champions World went under, MLS bought it and merged it with themselves, then forced MLS teams to now be able to play the big European teams. This whole European Summer Champions Cup, whatever it's called.
Right.
And MLS won. Over time, MLS won. Champions World used to be their enemy. They fell under. MLS was able to eat them up and then put themselves in the pie. MLS is a very ruthless, smart soccer governing organization. that's getting any piece of dollar they can. All the Mexican money goes to them. All the European club money now goes to them. They've made that. It used to be independent. Now, over the years, they've gotten it. They've been able to cut it and put it under their wing. They're a very, very smart soccer business machine.
But there's also, the flip side of this, the flip side of that argument, you're saying they're like this ruthless behemoth. They were also struggling to stay alive for so much of their history. It's not like, we have this,
they earned it.
We have this great strategy to make money hand over fist. I mean, they're not. Like, Soccer United marketing was a genius move in the sense that it kind of bundled the MLS rights, which nobody cared about, with like World Cup and other, and put some money into the owners' pockets, who were just subsidizing these teams that were just ready to fold back in those days. So that's arguably like kept the league alive. And like, are they making money hand over fist now? I don't think so. Is this Apple broadcast deal, is that bringing in that much money? Do they have the view? We don't know. They don't release the figures. But this also, every owner, every expansion team of recent ilk has spent like $500 million on franchise fees and stadium costs, et cetera, et cetera. And that takes a long time to make that back at these current, like, I don't know, what are their revenues? Like 25 million a year or something? Like, it's still not this like money machine, certainly compared to the Premier League or like big European leagues. It's still, or even more so compared to big American, the NFL or the NBA is it's still peanuts compared to that. So,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, they earned it. They made it. They are the first organization in the history of this country to take the sport of soccer and finally make a gold mine out of it. And that's why other people are mad that they can't do it. It's like, well, join the club. No one's been able to do it. But MLS and US Soccer figured it out. They did it through SUM. That's where it started. A little history lesson for people. And the 98 World Cup, ESPN bought the rights, lost a lot of money. And then no one was going to broadcast the 2002 or 2006 World Cup. So Don Garber and the owners, who and the league was on its deathbed. So they made this big change. We're going to start this independent company called Soccer United Marketing. They're not just going to sell us. They're going to sell soccer as a sport in this country. So SUM broadcast the 2 World Cups, which were big hits. SUM brought the Mexican national team in. SUM started being this thing where it was a soccer money-making marketing company that all the MLS owners were owners of.
Right.
And that grew MLS with them. Like, it subsidized MLS.
I mean, it made up for the losses that MLS generated. Yeah.
And now we're in a world. When I started watching MLS back in the day, there were 3 owners. Phil Unschutz had 6 of the 10 teams. 3 were with Lamar Hunt, and then Robert Kraft had New England. That was it. Those are the 3 dudes, the 3 old crusty dudes. Now there's hundreds. Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon. What's his face? All right, Matthew McConaughey down in Austin.
The minority people. Right.
And what that means to me is that it is a good investment. Otherwise, all these people aren't getting in on it. Now, I'm not a finance guy. I'm terrible with money. But I think it's more than just pulling back. The valuations are going through the roof. So they're spending a lot of money, but the value of their clubs are very high for whatever reason. I don't know how that works.
But those are just numbers that are made up. That Forbes like makes up every. I mean, ultimately, when you have, it's not like, you still have these old school owners, and it's not like there's so many other people. I mean, you have these like minority investors that put up some money, and that's more of a. It's more for marketing, I think, than it is really a significant contribution.
But hold on, yes, but why would I just like Drew Carey, Will Ferrell, Matthew McConaughey, Reese Witherspoon, Oscar De La Hoya used to be an owner in Houston. I don't know if he's still in. There's others I'm probably forget. Magic Johnson, LAFC. I mean, there's a reason they're doing it. It must make them money.
Yeah, I mean, they're hoping.
Johnson's a billionaire.
They're hoping for future growth, and they hoping that the values of the team keep rising, which they have. And they might, and hopefully they will continue to. So it might be a good investment, but at the same time, it's not like there's like lines around the corner for people. When an NBA team goes up for sale, or then people they're suitors. People are like, oh, this is a moneymaker. MLS, not necessarily. There's not that many. So anyway. It's always, it's like I always have a little bit of a problem when people portray MLS as this like the evil empire or whatever. I mean, it's just they have made it work by bleeding tons of cash for years and years and years. And so, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Like even with all that being said,
I guess the thing that a lot of that I don't agree with is that people say, oh, the growth of soccer in this country is inevitable. It's going to be a huge thing eventually, and MLS is just holding it back because they're thinking small and they have all these rules and they're protecting what they have. And I just don't agree. I don't think it's necessarily inevitable. I think that the U.S. has a lot of great sports to watch. Has a totally different sports culture. It hasn't historically been a big thing. And so I don't think it's inevitable. And so I think MLS has done pretty well to get where it is.
true. That is true. That is true. I mean, we could talk about this all day, but like
We have
MLS is not
we
the
have.
only we have. There's a lot. I mean, MLS is not the only source of success. I think if I had to pick one organization to make soccer make money in this country, that organization is called the English Premier League. When they decided to go on NBC and make a push at work, they figured it out. Through Fox Sports World, it grew. And the English Premier League is a popular league here. It's as popular as any of the other ones.
Yeah. Oh, much more. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So and that right there, and that got people into the U.S. national team, and then maybe it's kicked a couple people back to MLS, maybe. And the women's team has done really well. That wasn't really MLS related. It's not all MLS, but MLS did plenty.
No,
and it could
sure.
be.
No, and
Yeah.
you're totally right. The World Cup, how big the World Cup got, even just in the time that
Right.
I've been in, like you're saying, in '98, it was barely on TV, and now it's a huge event, and the Premier League, no, definitely, it's still. I mean, I think Liga MX has more
Right.
viewers than MLS still in. I think
Oh yeah,
MLS
they have
is
more
only the
viewers than
third.
England, I think.
MLS is only the third most popular league in this country, right? So I think that's.
Maybe less, something like
But I
that.
think,
Yeah.
that speaks to how hard it is,
Right. Right. America's the land of the free. It's the world's biggest melting pot. There's a lot of money here. There's a lot of people from all over the world
Or
here.
as
You know,
the Men in Blazers put it, soccer, America's sport of the future since 1978.
yeah. Yeah, 100%, 100%. But I argue it's very much a sport of the present. I think everyone's doing people are doing fine now. When I was, when MLS started or whatever back in the 90s, it was like MLS loses $100 million a year. And it's like, and it's not losing that money now. I mean, they're spending. And if they are, it's their fault. If they're spending $100 million a year, they're getting $200 million in valuations back. Again, I'm not a finance bro, but there's the math is like MLS is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. More people investing. To me, that means it's doing fine, right? If I have to label it.
Well, I think they're doing fine. There is, I mean, compared to the 90s, compared to 20 years ago, I think they're doing fine. I think if you look at the books of the annual, evaluation in Forbes is nice, but like that doesn't pay anybody's salary, So I think on a year by year basis, I think first of all, their budgets are way smaller than any other professional sports. It's still relatively small operations. And I mean, I think they're doing fine, but I don't think they're raking it in either.
And with Apple TV, they have been slowly but surely cutting their budgets year to year. From year 1 to year 2, they stopped making that nice wrap-up show.
Right. They just announced.
And year 3, they just announced, yeah.
They're going to do some remote. They're going to do some remote broadcasting. Yeah, they're going to consolidate operations in Connecticut, and I mean, I think we don't know exactly how many subscribers they have, but I think the signs are also that this is not exactly setting the world on fire either, as of yet. So
those, we knew they were going to come up with a splash. They did okay. And pulling back is a little natural. I'm not surprised it's going to happen.
Well, I think
I really liked they had a review show in year 1. It was really, really good. They don't do that anymore. They shut that off. And it's like, that's a shame. That's a cost-cutting measure I didn't like. They're replaced with this dumb wrap-up show, which is terrible. Just them talking over highlights for an hour. And then, then try to make money off their Messi. And, they've got less broadcasters, and now they're doing it remote and stuff. They aren't going to maybe fudge around the schedule finally, make like a soccer Sunday night thing.
Sunday night soccer, that's the big hype.
When it was originally announced, they mentioned like Apple has the wherewithal to advertise this on all their devices. Like anybody that has an iPhone or iPad gets like MLS tonight, I didn't like. I was just like, okay, I guess. But have they ever done that before? Like, my Apple has not forced me to watch baseball before. You know what I mean? Because the baseball deal.
Well,
and sure enough, it never happened. I don't know why they thought. I don't know why they thought that would happen, but it did not happen.
If you're on Apple TV, it does come up, when you're on Apple TV. But like a lot of things come up.
If you're a subscriber, right? But if you're
even if you're not, it does pop up a lot. But like a lot of things pop up on TV, and if you don't have any interest, you just don't watch it. It's not like, oh, look at this bull riding.
It needs to pop up on. Yeah. Well, I'd watch bull riding. It was free. Okay, if Apple TV said free hour bull riding,
no, I would too. Poor example.
Bad example. But Apple TV is also like 1% of the streaming share. I mean, if you want real ads, go on Netflix. But anywho, we've been on for 3 hours now.
We've talked ourselves into a tizzy, of course, as we tend to do. All right, let's wrap this up.
MLS is coming back this month.
We have the Cup
this month.
Is NYCFC going to sign anybody? Pascal Janssen. We're going to be streaming. We're going to get some preseason streams in Coachella. They announced today, so we're going to see that.
I still might go. I might go. We'll see. I probably can't go next week. I don't think.
Will you go to Coachella? Will I go to Miami? We don't know. We don't know yet.
We don't know.
All right.
Well, either of us go to the Bundesliga this year, maybe. Me, 99% no, probably. Bjorn, maybe to the Bundesliga this year.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, there's a chance.
Bochum's playoff game. You there?
Maybe I'll go for Bochum's last Bundesliga game. All right. Tschüss.
Tschüss, everybody.
See you next week.
Bis nächste Woche.
Bye.